What's up, YouTube? I'm back, and today we're doing something different. We're doing collecting, or is this art? What I'm basing this show around is when I came to YouTube, back, I thought of it. There's a lot of and there's people in the comments that spoke about this too. There's a lot of people that does action figure reviews, the best. There's a lot of great action figure review guys out there. There's a lot of people showing, action figure news, a whole lot of different action figure stuff, and these guys are some of the best. News, discussions, and all that. I want to do something different, and like I said, I want to do my interviews based upon some thoughts in my head about why we collect, and that's just always been something I've always thought about, and why we collect and why we do these things so much and enjoy it so much. And that's why I want to do my interviews, and that brings today's topic. So when I do my videos, sure, there's gonna be some videos where I bring my customs up here and I just talk about customs. There's gonna be some videos I may bring up some new action figures, but I want to keep it based upon the collecting aspect. So today's topic is: are we doing action figures, or are we doing collecting? Are we collecting action figures, or is this art, or some form of art? All right, and I've had a couple serious debates on this because I'm bringing information that I've researched. I took it to the streets, debated some good debaters about this, and I said, this is something that we could throw in the air. It sticks on the wall. I'm bringing it to YouTube. So I'm just not coming up here talking about something that I hadn't done no research on. All right, let's get to it. To me, this is my debate, and you all are free in the comments, and it'll be cool if you all put in the comments, you think this collecting, just put collecting, and if you think this is an art, just type art. I would gladly appreciate that. I just want to know how everybody feels about this, because this is my thoughts. I believe it's art, and I believe it's two different categories. I believe you have your mid-on card collectors. These are your mid-on card collectors. I've known people that talk about them first. I know some guys that's mid-on card. They will not buy a figure if there's a scratch on the packaging. The edges have to be perfect. They study the figure, they study the packaging, they study everything about this, the action figure. Even much when I first realized this, when the G.I. Joe Classified Beachy at Cobra Island figure came out, I know there's a variant of it, but I knew a guy that he was very serious about how this figure looked in the Pacific, how he wanted his figure to look. Now, needless to say, he ended up with both of them, but he was I think he did. He was just so specific on his packaging, his cornering, and all that. Now, I don't know, I'm pretty sure he wraps his figures up and put them in a container. Don't touch them, don't look at them until it's time to do inventory or sell them. A lot of those guys end up selling their collection later on in life because they end up saying, hey, I don't need this stuff, because they're not active with it and they don't have an attachment to it. They're just looking at, this is my thoughts, they're just looking at the money maybe they can make out of it, or they just enjoy collecting and hunting. There's people out here that just enjoy hunting. But like I was saying about the collecting aspect, that's a collector to me. Someone that doesn't touch their action figures. They get their action figures, they fold them up in a box, put them away, don't deal with them. And there's another form that there's hoarding. There's hoarders out there. People that just buy action figures, buy action figures, buy action figures, buy action figures. I know a guy that he almost got fined because his house was a fire hazard because he hoarded so many action figures. I mean, they was to the ceiling, and I'm not playing, boxes everywhere. straight action figures. I mean, he has some good stuff. He does, but he's a hoarder. I know another guy that's a hoarder. Like, it's crazy, hoarding action figures. But then this is where my debate starts. I think it's art. I think the minute you open that figure and put it on his 2 feet, right then and there, it becomes art. This figure right here, this is art right here. This, I don't care, I'll debate anybody. When you take that figure out of the packaging, and some people say, well, you're a customizer, you do custom, so there's art to you. Anytime you vision something and express yourself in any kind of way, or any kind of expression, it's art. Even that's my thoughts. If you stand your figure up in the glass case and put it on display, put them on a motorcycle, put them in a chair, that's art. Maybe if you throw your figure on a shelf and lay it on its sides and pile figures up on top of it, that's not art. But if you, in the second you stand that figure up, it becomes art. And that's my thoughts on it. Because like in the customizing aspect, they say, well, like I said, people say, oh, you're a customizer, you do custom, so it's always gonna be art. True. I mean, it's art. All the collecting aspect is art. If you have a display room, it's art. And I believe that certain, like let's go straight out with it. G.I. Joe, Hasbro, I believe that when they make their figures, they target people to change the figures up. You know, I believe that because look, the boil and pop. We did Legends back in the days, and those who do Legends now, Legends you can boil and pop, but not like Joe. You can break a Joe down and turn it into anything. This is like this right here, 2-pack knife force. This figure is $35 right now. This 2-pack is $35. And I'm talking about the art aspect. And anybody that buys 2 or 3 of these boxes, open them. And they're gonna enjoy doing this. Open them, boil and pop. And if you haven't seen any boil and pop, there's a lot of videos on boiling and popping. Savage Land just dropped an amazing video on boiling and popping. They can make 2 totally different figures out of this figure. And this is a great package deal. At $35 right now at Walmart. This is amazing for customizing right now. It's loaded down with fodder, guns, vest, everything you need is in this 2-pack. You guys want gems? This is a gem. This is a must-have if you collect them. For $35, this is a must. This is one of my favorite figures of the line right now. I know, this is nothing but the Assault Viper and the Range Viper. I know that, but look at it. It's a very cool figure, and it's designed just for customizing. I mean, they do it. They just 2 figures they put together, put a paint job on it. It's amazing. One of my favorite figures this year. Amazing. They do it. They designed this for this. This figure is nothing but savage pieces. This figure here is one of my favorite figures in my collection, but it's savaged out. Like, it has every line in it. Plus it has a custom mask that I made. Pretty nice mask too. But I will show these guys and talk about them another later day. They're coming, the videos are coming. But this figure here is a beautiful figure to me, and it's savaged out. It's got Marvel Legend legs. It's got Valorverse guns. It's got all kinds of stuff on it. It's, McFarlane head, all just whatever you think of the custom figures is in this figure. You know, that's art. So my point of view is, it's all art unless you're packaging your figures up, not touching them. That's the only line that makes you a collector. Other than that, you're doing art. You know, you can classify yourself as an artist or whatever, but you're doing art. unless you're boxing your figures, or keep saying this, because this is my debate, boxing your figures up, not touching them, and putting them off somewhere, that's art. I mean, that's collecting. Because like I said, I'm having a lot of fun doing with this art aspect. And let's talk a little bit about the way I think the G.I. Joe with Hasbro with G.I. Joe is targeting us to make action figures out of these figures. They're designed for that. This new Arctic figure that they're showing, the one that has it has I think Big Ben's base and a Steel Brigade head. That figure there is designed for customizing. They got that figure, they put that figure out, and this is my thoughts on it, just for people to customize. So they know how they're on this Arctic kick, right? And that's the beautiful thing about G.I. Joe. Me personally, I'm urban, jungle, desert, not Arctic, but I know a lot of people that are. And if you are Arctic, this is a good time for you because they put that figure out to be customized. They know people are gonna buy that figure, take the head off, and you can have Flint, Duke. They're making Flint, but if you can't afford the Flint that they got, you can make Flint, Duke out of that base. Any G.I. Joe that you can think of, you can pop his head on that base. And the Big Ben figure is going to go up in price at some point because they have a figure because people are going to be buying it to go with the Arctic stuff. So that's another way Hasbro do that stuff because they know that customizers, people, kit bashers are going to buy those figures, head swap them. It's a brilliant idea. That figure is probably going to be the #1 Army built figure sold from that Arctic stuff. Because if I was doing Arctic, I would buy tons of them. I would have enough that any kind of idea and picture I was taking, I would have the figures and the heads to back it. Next tip I was talking about last week, earlier in the week, my video had shut down. I didn't, for some reason, that was crazy. I was talking about the type of money that we spend. I'm gonna close it with this. The kind of money that I spend, some of us do spend, of imagery, mostly from our childhood. We're trying to relive. That's why we spend so much on Joes and stuff. I'm spending a lot of money, like I said before, OG-13, I have no attachment to them. 86 plus, that's when I was getting down with them, real heavy. When I was a kid, we ended up with a bunch of comic books at some point. I guess we might have found them, somebody might have gave them to us. I don't know how we ended up. It was a bunch of comic books. They had X-Men books in there. I think we found them. There was X-Men books in there. There was a lot of good books in there. And there was this one OG-13 book. It was a big book with the G.I. Joes, the original 13, and the Mobat, and they were jumping around. And somebody just took a picture of this on Facebook. I'm spending a bunch of money trying to make that cover. I'm buying a Mobat, custom made, 3D printed. For that, I want to make that cover out of my action figures. And we're just trying, and some of us, we're just trying to relive images, relive ideas, and relive or the art part, work with our storyline. Like if I'm writing a story where there's a scene where Cobra is attacking a facility, a G.I. Joe base in the desert, and Cobra's bringing his tanks in. This is the image that say I'm having, right? or a story that I'm writing. So right then and there, I gotta buy a desert diorama for somebody. Let's say I don't make one, I gotta buy one. I gotta buy a desert diorama for somebody. Gotta seek a desert, somebody that does good dioramas. And not only does good dioramas, does good desert dioramas. So that's time trying to find it, ask questions, surf the net. Who does good desert work? Dioramas can range from, depends on what you want. I don't think nobody's doing them under 50 bucks because shipping is so high right now. I just shipped a diorama for almost $70. So dioramas, shipping is gonna be high now. So you're gonna spend $100 on a diorama. So there go one, there go your $100. Say you don't have a his tank. Depending on where you get it from, that sucker's gonna be $400, $350 plus. So now you're $450, most likely $500 in it. You don't have no, you didn't get in the game early, so you don't have the infantry troopers. So now you gotta get on eBay, find the infantry troopers. Or some Cobra Islands, a couple of those too, those are real nice. You're gonna be out of 100 plus, maybe 200. So now unknowingly, you're $700 in the hole for an image that or a story that you're trying to tell, unknowingly. Trying to relive your childhood, trying to relive an idea. We do it all the time. I do it. I've stayed up many nights. This is the art aspect I'm talking about. Because I classify all of it art. Even much, except for the guys that box it up. I done said it 1,000 times. And this is why I keep dwelling on the art. When X-Men first came out, Multiple Man, I had to have over 3. Because as a kid, I watched the 97 episode when the X-Men, when it gets the X Factor and Multiple Man turned into so many people. I've never redone that scene. But in my display right now, there's 3 Multiple Men standing there. Could have got 1. Would have been same effect, but I needed 3. I crazily used to love my X-Force books when they were real good. All the X-Force books. I have those teams set up like they were. They just made the new Archangel and Warpath and X-23, which I have multiple of those. That's first on my Christmas list. My kids ask me what I want. Hey, I want that. Because I used to love those X-Force books. So what are we doing? That's going to be the next topic. Are we reliving our childhood? Or are we just having fun, being a kid again? Or are we trying to come up with this storyline? Because when we were kids, we played on the ground with our toys, which we all did. There was always a storyline. I've always told stories with my toys. And when I played with toys with my friends, we always told stories with them. You know, there was always this guy versus that guy, this team versus that team. Even much as a kid, when I snuck toys in the desk, I'm going all the way back to 2nd and 3rd grade, sneaking Joes to school, playing in the desk with them. Joes were always good because they were small, you stick them in your pocket. I remember being in 2nd grade, teacher up there talking or doing something. I'm in my desk playing with Shockwave. Sound effects. You know, going around the corner of the books in the desk. And when I got older, I had to make my own Shockwave. I didn't like Hasbro's. I'll show my Shockwave something. There's any pictures on it, but there's a certain way I wanted my Shockwave. I liked that blue Uzi. Actually, that Uzi was big to all me and my friends. With that mask, that hat. I remember that. When he came out, I was disappointed. You know why? he didn't have the exact same colors as that he had when I was a kid. Even though I know that was a classified as an updated version, he didn't look the way he did when I was a kid. And I didn't buy him. I still haven't bought him. I made my own. I mean, I wanted that color pattern, you know what I'm saying? That exact same color, those L's, those little L's. You know, it's funny when you think of this stuff. The more I talk to you all, I'm realizing I'm really reliving my childhood with this stuff. Memories, you know. This stuff takes you back, man. This stuff that you can look at a figure of Sabretooth. I'm looking at one right now. When I look at him, I remember when they showed him, when they first introduced him on the 97 X-Men. When I look at this figure right here, I think about when he showed up in my, I'm writing a little book. You guys already know about my runs, and those that's been following me. When I look at this figure right here, I think about the gang of wolves that follows him. So when I made him, I was thinking about those wolves, because in the book, he's the man that wears the wolf, and he breeds wolves. So it's all about, like I said, imagery and reliving your childhood. I think a collector is in a whole nother bracket. I don't even think serious collectors even much watch YouTube videos. I don't think they do, because if I watch a YouTube video, and there's a YouTuber on there, right? And there's some great reviewers out here, and he's reviewing a figure. I got a guy by Monster Force like this, and my buddies too. Don't forget, your friends will tell you, get this stuff too. This stuff is nice, and Monster Force is very nice. And I had to, when they told me about getting Monster Force, you know what I had a vision of? The Desert Monster Force figure. It's the only reason I bought it, because the vision that I have, the Desert Monster Force vision. I'm going to put all 3 lines together in this diorama, this killer desert diorama, and I'm going to have the AWE striker there, and it's going to be, and I might even paint one desert color, and it's going to, and I'm going to have the G.I. Joe 60th anniversary Desert Guy Trooper. I'm gonna have Valorverse, and then I'm gonna take the Monster Force. All 3 of them gonna be at a big, going on a mission together. I spent money on Monster Force just for this image that I had. It's art, image that I had. I know a guy, his collection is amazing. I think he's ranked. He should be ranked with the collection. This dude has some killer stuff. His whole collection is based upon a story, a movie that he's writing for G.I. Joe. Whole collection is based upon that. I debated him. He said it was art, and we didn't agree, but I debated him. He was one of the first I felt I should have debated about it. So before I get up out of here, put it in the comments. Do you think what we all are doing, collecting, or is this a form of art? I gave you all a good layout of my feelings, and I'm pretty sure some of you feel different, and that's what I want to hear. Like I said, when I started this, I want to do something different. I like to talk, I like to debate, healthy debates. There's a difference between the argument and the debate. Debate, there's a total difference. We're grown. We should know that I shouldn't have to break it down to nobody. But that's where I'm at with it right now. And that's how I got sucked into customizing images. I wanted my Apocalypse on the throne. Every Build-A-Figure Apocalypse I have is on the throne. He's sitting on the throne. I'm just looking at my X-Men collection. I had 7 X-Men when I was a kid. I feel like going to get some of them right now. I'll show you. I had my first 7 X-Men. I had to have them. Then I had another batch that came out. I had to have them. When the Age of Apocalypse, before it came out, you remember the first Age of Apocalypse book, the one that you opened? My brother still had the metallic cover when he was a kid, and all the Age of Apocalypse X-Men were running, and Magneto was in the front. That cover, we got the Shining one actually. I had my Age of Apocalypse X-Men. You can look this up on my page long before Hasbro came out with. I had them due to imagery of that book. Hell's Fire Club. I made those before they even much came out. Well, I had some made and I made some myself due to imagery of that book. I mean that cartoon show. I mean, there's so many. And I remember one time I used to lay in the bed and go through Comic Vine and search for characters to make. And I would make them just to beef up my collection. Some of these characters, I didn't even know they exist till I read about them on Comic Vine, and then I did a little more research on them just to beef up my collection, because at the time, I wanted to have the most custom X-Men collection ever. And I spent a lot of time, a lot of hours doing that. Imagery, thoughts, ideas. You know, right now, my buddy sent me some samurai stuff. I'm thinking Budos. There's some cold samurai stuff he's been sending me. And then my feed now is full of samurai stuff. So I've been watching samurai stuff. That's a whole nother video I'm gonna shoot. How I got sucked into the Vikings. I watched the Viking show once, a long time ago, rewatched it. I went Viking crazy, making Vikings like crazy. I mean, I have a nice Viking collection. How about that? I made a Viking G.I. Joe crossover. If some of you all have seen this stuff, and those who's not on Facebook, I'll show it, you know. But I'm standing firm on my art, you know. I'm standing firm on my belief. Very firm on it. Even much with my dreadnoughts. When I was a kid, I thought, and I should have put my dreadnoughts that I made up here, but I thought that the dreadnoughts should have been beefed up without, some of them had their shirts off, beefed up, kind of muscled up, you know what I'm saying? With, you know, I wanted them to have t-shirts on. So when I made my dreadnoughts, because I have two sets of dread, I have Hasbro dreadnoughts and I have my own that I designed myself. Yeah, my dreadnoughts, they have on t-shirts, they have vests on, but they have on t-shirts, and I used a lot of bulky buffs for them, because I just thought the dreadnoughts would be bulky. I like the Ripper in the yellow and black imagery from when I was a kid. My Ripper has the flat hair, the flat top with the yellow and black on off the cartoon. That's what I grew up with. That's what my Ripper looks like, you know. My Buzzer has on like a white t-shirt with a brown vest with jeans on, and he's bulky like, you know. That's the imagery of it. Yeah, I think my Torch, he has a red shirt on, red t-shirt, a red cutoff sleeve shirt with a vest on and blue jeans and stuff, man. That's how I imagined them to look. That's how I wanted them to look as a kid. When I got old enough, I made them how I imagined them. Now, I imagined Zartan as is. I mean, Zartan is, when you think of Zartan, that's G.I. Joe Classified is amazing. Zartan. He's everybody's. Not everybody's, but he was a favorite as a kid. You know, he's always been a favorite. Zartan's always going to be a kid's favorite because the paint on his face and all the stuff that he does, wow, to a kid. You know. All right, I'm finna go on, shut it down. Good talking to y'all. Sorry for missing the past 2 days, but please comment. Do you believe it's art or collection? I'm out.